Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit. Today we are joined by Jayden Doye, who is an accounting strategist and the founder of Prestige Accountants. Jayden, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am so happy to be here today.
Can we start off? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Prestige Accountants?
Yes, so I am originally from gorgeous Prince George's County, Maryland. Moved to Atlanta back in 2016, and I started Prestige Accounting and Consulting in 2019. And since then, we've helped hundreds, and honestly, I won't say thousands, but we've helped thousands of attorneys, either by working directly with us or through our workshops, to create financial freedom and create a firm that is profitable, not just working them 80 hours a week. So we specialize in working with law firms so that they can live the life that they truly desire. So we help them by providing consultation services, bookkeeping, tax prep, tax planning. We're the one-stop shop for the financial services for law firms that are looking to grow and scale.
So when clients come to Prestige Accounting and Consulting, what are some of the pain points and problems that they're experiencing in their business that you're helping them resolve?
I could talk about that for hours, but I will sum it up with a certain mindset. So law school teaches people how to practice law. And even that is debatable according to my lawyer friends. Then college teaches you how to be a good employee. When you get these jobs, they teach you how to be an employee. They teach you how to draft motions, go to court, do depositions. What they don't teach you is how to be a business owner. People literally go to college for 4 years, they're a business management major and still don't get it. So the problem is there's an educational gap when lawyers go from being an employee to an employer, and they make a lot of mistakes, and it takes them years and years and years to get to where they want to be financially. So they work with somebody like myself who helps them streamline that process. So we're consulting with them on best practices on your money management, hiring, what type of technology you need to use, how to make sure you're creating the foundation for a firm that's sellable, whether you want to sell it or not, and what marketing strategies are the most profitable for you. So we're unbiased, right? In the sense that we're not, a lot of these marketing companies, they say that they will do certain things for companies, and they do, but the lawyers get mad because they don't get the results that they wanted. So if somebody says, I'll do 5 social media posts for you a week, and they do 5 social media posts for you a week, and you get no clients after 8 months, they never promise that you'll get clients. They promise that they'll do 5 social media posts a week. So we always equate things back to money. What's the ROI that we're getting from this vendor or this service that we're working with?
Now, you focus on proactive tax planning, and I kind of want to focus on that word. I'm very curious, what is sort of the reason why it's so important to be proactive in your tax planning? Why is that so crucial?
Well, a lot of times tax planning and cash flow problems go hand in hand. Give you an example. So the IRS actually expects, as a business owner, for you to be psychic, know how much your tax liability is, look in your crystal ball, and every quarter make the estimated tax payment. Since you're self-employed, right? Well, unfortunately, very few people on this world that own a law firm are psychic. So they need to work with somebody to help them do that. And if they don't make those estimated payments, then they get penalized. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is when you're not paying your taxes throughout the year, realistically, people that don't pay their taxes throughout the year are not saving for taxes throughout the year either. So when they file their taxes, now you have a $20,000 tax bill. Now you have to take out a loan or something like that, or you have the cash for it, but it messes up your cash flow. Now something is going to get paid late, or you have to use credit cards, and now you have interest, and you put yourself into a negative cash flow because you didn't plan, right? In addition to that, some strategies, like for instance, I'll give you a strategy, um, deferred income. So deferred income, when you use a 401k, IRA, things of that nature, that has to be set up well ahead of time. We can't set that up in April when it's time for you to file your taxes. I mean, you might be able to contribute to certain plans, but those plans are limited. If you want to maximize a 401k, that has to be set up in the year that you're actually looking to contribute.
Right.
So, with that, we have to make sure that we're setting enough money aside to put into that plan, and that and that you're able to live off of the money that you're getting after we take out those deferrals.
When you're working with clients and firm owners to kind of help them maximize that cash flow, what are
Mhm.
some of the metrics that you're tracking when you're working with these businesses?
Oh, so many. One of them is the easiest one is profit margin. So we're just
Right.
looking at your profit divided by your revenue. And even that is debatable because a lot of times people will, at the end of the year, overspend on certain things or pay things in advance so that they don't have, so that they can lower their taxable income. And that is what I like to call discretionary expenses. So I like to look at your profit before we add the discretionary expenses in there. I also like to look at average revenue per case. So with personal injury, you have pre-litigation, so stuff that settles before it goes to court, and then you have stuff that you actually have to litigate.
Right.
And the thought process is that the stuff that you have to litigate is going to be much higher than the stuff that you don't litigate.
Mm.
However, in some firms, they're neck and neck. So we have to really figure out something here isn't right. Either this one needs to be way up, or we just need to just not do this at all and only do the pre-lit stuff.
Right.
So that helps us plan, various different strategies. And that helps us figure out from a productivity standpoint. So firms that track hours, that charge by the hour, they track hours. Firms that don't charge by the hour oftentimes don't track hours, but I want them to so that we can look at productivity.
Right.
So that productivity leads to healthy cash flow.
Mm. And when you're helping these businesses grow, when you go in and you're helping these businesses sort of, expand and do these things, how are you ensuring that that growth is being done so in a sustainable and scalable way?
Well, honestly, most of them are scared. So I never have the problem where people grow too fast. Okay. I've
Really?
never had that problem before. We do it periodically. So we don't go from spending $0 a month to $20,000 a month in ads. We start out with 3, then we go up to 5, then we go up to 7. And
Right.
every quarter we set new goals. And so that gives us the ability to just set an incremental change. So if you made 125 in Q1 of last year, now this year, let's go ahead and say we're going to do 150 or 175. I set realistic goals because I know myself, when I don't reach my goals, it doesn't make me feel good. I don't like
Right.
setting goals that I know I'll never reach. I don't need to trick my mind and do that. I need to set goals that I can actually work towards and reach so I can feel that dopamine rush when I look at my numbers.
Are there any financial mistakes that you just see firms making over and over and over and over again? Is there one that just a mistake that just is very common to see?
Oh yes, I literally wrote a book about it.
Oh, I'd love to know more.
Yeah, my ebook, my free ebook on the website. But the biggest mistake I would say comes with the IOTA account, not managing the
Mm,
IOTA account because it's so different. Let's say you have 50 different clients in any given year that have money coming in and out of that account. Not tracking every single penny that comes in and out is where people make the mistake. So the money comes in, They pay the medical providers and pay the client, and then they move on to the next one. But there's never a double check to say, hey, did all these checks clear, or did we pay the right people? So I've seen so many mistakes from paying the wrong people to maybe you're supposed to put money from the trust to the operating, and you do it the opposite direction. I've seen so many different IOTA mistakes, and we do a lot of IOTA cleanup projects. So if someone is watching this and you haven't had a three-way reconciliation on your IOTA account, if you're confused as to what a three-way reconciliation is, that's a red flag. You need to call me ASAP. But if it's been years since somebody has really balanced to the penny, then no judgment. We do it all the time. We'll keep it a secret, just like Alicia Keys says. But I'll keep it a secret, and we'll clean it up for you. But we do a lot of those, judgment free.
So, we talked a little bit about mistakes, but what about myths? Are there any myths or things that people falsely believe when it comes to accounting? Are there any myths that you'd like to clear up that, maybe people hold?
One of the myths is that we're magicians, and we can just make numbers, do magic overnight, right? So let's just be realistic for a second. If you haven't had your finances organized in years, you think it's going to be done in 2 days? Let's be realistic here, right? It takes a while to get organized, and then on top of that, it takes time. A lot of the things when you're making financial changes, whether that's switching banks, switching payroll providers, changing your business model, want to increase your profits, all of those things take strategy and they take time. They're not done overnight. And you need someone to work with you and hold your hand and hold you accountable to that. That's the only way that you're actually going to see change. Thinking that things can happen overnight. I mean, a lot of these companies are selling pipe dreams where they say that, oh yeah, we could do your book. Anybody that talk about we could do your bookkeeper for $200, $300 a month, and we'll always have it done by the 5th. They're lying. It's not true.
Right.
It's just not realistic.
So for a firm owner, say that there's a firm owner who feels stuck around $500K, $1 million in revenue. What usually needs to change in their numbers or mindset to really help them break through?
They are working too much in the business and not on the business.
Can you define that a little bit? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When you go to Walmart, do you ever see the CEO of Walmart ringing people up?
Right.
No, you don't even see cashiers ringing people up. You got to ring yourself up. When you go to Chick-fil-A, do you ever see the CEO of Chick-fil-A making your burger or taking your order? No, you don't. Okay. When you go to the DMV, and you got to get a new ID, do you ever see the CEO over there? No, you don't. The CEO does not work in the business doing everything from beginning to end. And the sooner people realize that, the sooner they can start the transformation, which is becoming a CEO. The CEO is the visionary. The CEO supervises. The CEO makes sure that processes are moving along, customers are happy. And so they need to figure out a way to have a profitable business that does not require them to be there. They can be there, but they have to start creating strategy around creating a profitable business that doesn't require them to be there. Once they remove themselves, it'll force them to get really strategic, right? Because let's be real, the law firm owners, if they have to skip their own payroll, it's not a big deal to them, right? I'll just get it later. But if you have to skip an employee's payroll, it's a lawsuit. So you're going to find a way to make their payroll. So this is why we have to figure out a way to get you removed out of the business. And it doesn't happen overnight.
Right. What inspired you to focus Prestige Accounting specifically on law firms instead of just, being a generalist CPA?
Well, realistically, firms that have a narrow niche market grow and scale faster. In addition to that, when you have a bunch of different niche markets that you serve, it makes it difficult to become an expert at anything. So I wanted to pick a market that I knew that I could go deep with as it pertains to education. So
Mm.
I a lot of the webinars and things that attorneys go to, I go to as well. I even learn trial strategy. Not that I'm ever going to go to trial, but it helps me from a consulting standpoint understand how they do business. And I don't know any other CPA that digs that deep. And so when I started my business, it took me within about the first year, that's when I decided to really focus on law firms. And it was with after doing interviews with various different lawyers, it was very clear that there was a need in the market. One, because a lot of people do their accounting, their trust accounting in a spreadsheet, which I don't recommend. But two, because there were so many people that were just thinking small, and I wanted to just help them catapult to the next level so that they were great at doing what they do and getting justice for people. But because they were playing so small, their impact that they are able to create is minimal. So I want to help them catapult that. And I enjoy working with people that I feel like I feel like attorneys are far enough from accounting where I really enjoy the lingo, like hearing them talk about what they do. I enjoy having conversations with intelligent people.
Mm.
So it just works. And as a licensed professional myself, I know just how difficult it could be and how anxiety ridden it could be to know that one mistake can cost you your license.
Right. Right. You mentioned, this idea of payroll, right? That, they're going to find a way to make payroll for their employees. And, many firm owners, they pay themselves last. But I'm curious, how do you think about owner compensation and profit distribution in a healthy firm?
I look at it like this. Let's figure out what your role is. The reason why people are confused is because they're confused as to what their role is in the business. They're wearing too many
Mm.
hats.
Right.
If we can define your role, then we can find out what the market rate is for that role. So let's just say hypothetically, we have you as an attorney or a business development manager, and we're going to pay you $50 an hour. Now you have to track all your time. Now you have to hold yourself accountable.
Right.
Now when you pay yourself, you're looking at, okay, just like you look at everyone else as to what the input is that they brought in, you're going to be looking at yourself like, what is the input that I brought into the business? How many consultations did I have? How many new clients did I sign up?
Mm.
And so the problem with a lot of people in business, and this is going to make a lot of people mad, but a lot of people in business are lazy. I'm going to be honest. So what happens is their thought process is, I want to start a business because I can't work for nobody else. Okay, so what you're telling me is that you suck as a leader and you suck as an employee. So that low vibrational spirit that you left with at the job is going to follow you to your business. So that mindset, I can't work for nobody else, it shows up in your own business because you're being lazy with yourself. You're always going
Yeah.
home early. You're always taking a nap and you never really work the hours that's needed, right? And so
Right.
when we hold ourselves as employer, you have to have a strong mental health to be able to step outside the box and look at yourself as an employer and an employee and be able
Right.
to hold yourself accountable and have that positive self-talk or that tough love if needed. So I recommend definitely putting yourself on a salary. I understand maybe the first few months, 6 months, if you don't have a nest egg, I understand, getting things together until you get revenue. But once revenue starts generating, you need to be paying yourself. Slavery is over and we do not work for free.
Right.
So you need to be paying yourself. Then, if you need more than your salary, I just had this conversation with the client today. So we put her on a salary and now she's on a strict budget. And we're not going to up that salary. We're not going to even talk about upping the salary until the quarter's over. At
Mm.
that point, we can have a discussion. But in the meantime, I've given her, I said, from the profits, you can give yourself X amount more every month if needed. This forces her to have a business that's profitable.
Right.
Because if there's no profit, then you can't take profit distribution.
Right. And I'm curious. I want to do a little, I guess, a little role play here, I guess. So if a firm owner came to you today and they were saying, cash is scarce, cash is tight, I'm terrified of taxes that are coming up, what are some of the first things that you would have them do?
I would have them pull up their QuickBooks, and I would first start with the balance sheet. I would go to the balance sheet and I would see that the money that's in the IOTA account doesn't match the IOTA liability. And I would say that's a problem right there. You probably have some money in your IOTA account that's due to the firm. So now you're going to have to pay me to go back, clean it up, and give you that amount. Then I would go to the profit and loss, and I would look at the whole last year, and I would break it up. I would have the columns showed by month, so I can see every month how much they're bringing in and how much is going out. And I'm going to first start with the revenue. If the revenue is not what I like, then I'm going to say, why are you only making $12,000 a month? What's going on here? Are you not getting leads? You must not be marketing. You must be only word of mouth. Because if you're marketing, you should be definitely making more than that, right? So we figure out why there's not enough revenue. Then we look at the expenses to figure out where they're overspending or where they're not spending enough. See, oftentimes people think accountants are supposed to penny pinch. I have an abundance mindset. So I believe in convenience, right? So for instance, I don't clean I clean up after myself, but I don't do deep cleans in my house. I haven't since I bought it 2 years ago. I have a cleaner come out twice a month, and I pay her a few thousand, not a few thousand, Lord. don't air that, because then all the cleaners going to hit me up. I pay her a few hundred every cleaning. But if you think about it, it's like a few $100s is nothing to me. I could spend that on a meal, and it would take me what a cleaner can do in 3 hours, it would take me at least 20 hours to do. So I'd rather spend my time making the money, right? And so what I'm really doing is pushing law firm owners to start thinking like that, right? When you grow up in poverty, it's very easy to have a broke mindset. It's very easy to say, I'm going to do everything myself. No.
Right.
We need to delegate as much as we can.
Absolutely. That's a great mindset to have. Now, and this is another thing I'm kind of curious about, as we've been speaking here. Now, you're known for helping firms pay less to the IRS. And I'm curious, what are some of the most sort of underused tax strategies for law firm owners? Are there any that are, good strategies that are just unknown and go unused?
Well, I won't say unknown. I feel like in the world of digital, where everything is available and ChatGPT and all these things, there's very little information out there that, people don't know about. But there's definitely some information that's underutilized. I'll say that. So honestly, the biggest one for me, I would say, is that deferred income. And I think people don't really think about it. Like when I say legally deferring your income, putting money into a 401k. And I used to be one that would promote a simple IRA versus a 401k. And let me tell you why. With a simple IRA, you can put, at the time, maybe it was like 13,500 in there. And then you would do like a 2 or 3% match for employees. So it was pretty good in the sense that you put a little bit away a year. And employees usually don't want to participate, but when they do, you're only doing a 2 or 3% match. So that's maybe another $2,000 or $3,000 a year out of your pocket. It's really nothing. But now I'm more pushing the 401ks, because with a 401k, you can contribute more and you can do profit sharing. So if you have a very crazy year where you have $500,000 in profit, and you need to figure out what you can do, you can contribute some of that profit into the retirement accounts of everyone that's participating in the plan. In addition to that, with a 401k, you can borrow from a 401k. So if things were to ever go really bad, I can borrow from my 401k, which a lot of other plans don't. give you that option to do. And of
Right.
course, there's some interest with that, but I have that ability to do that. So um, I think a lot of people are just not preparing for retirement. They're not thinking about what that's like because they feel like it's so far away. But
Right.
when I talk about if things get really bad, you can borrow from it. Then they start thinking about the present, and that kind of wins them over.
Right. When you think back on all of the businesses, all of the firms, all of the clients that you've been able to help through Prestige Accounting, is there a story of, say, a business, a firm, a client that you really saw a really positive outcome for and transformation in as a result of your help and guidance? And if so, if there's one that stands out, could you share that story with us?
Yeah, one in particular, we'll call her Ava the attorney. That's my code word. So nobody comes to sue me, right? So Ava the attorney, personal injury attorney, very nice girl. I don't even think I've ever seen her mad. I don't even know what she would look like mad. She's just always nice. And unfortunately, some people like that, it's the difficult part is sometimes being an employer because you're always nice, right? And
Right.
so she had a thriving PI practice, but she was overworking herself. And so we got in there, we helped her one get past the $1 million mark. So now she's making over $1 million a year in gross revenue. Two, we helped her as far as figure out what her average case value was. And from there, we were able to realize that there's a referral partner that's sending her clients, and these cases are not really good cases, and the average case value is very low, and then she has to split it with that attorney. So because the attorney had did some work before sending them over, so at this point we cut that out so she can have higher profits and focus on her own clients. We connected her with a marketing company, and that marketing company is blowing her up. Now she's on Billboard, she's on radio, she's in
Oh, wow.
magazines. Um, and and then we connected her with an executive coach, and the coach came in and interviewed everybody. And I also went through a series of interviews with the owner as far as talking about, getting to know everybody in her firm. And both me and the coach on separate accords had came to very similar conclusions about certain team members. And I would tell her, look,
Mm.
this person's not going to last. You might want to go ahead and find a replacement now. You might want to go
Right.
ahead and put that job ad out. And I was right. The coach was right. So the coach was able to help the environment, improve the work environment. And then I was able to help her set some KPIs. And so now her and her firm administrator have KPIs for each employee. They go through that every month. And so they're getting higher productivity out of their team. So that's just one of the many that we've helped. And it really goes in to show how deep. Oh, and we also took over the check writing process for them because they were doing that manually, and that was taking too many hours. But the next step is that we're going to take them on a cloud-based program so that we can do it from anywhere in the world. Because if the attorney isn't there right now, she can't approve. Well, we're going to put it in a system where the attorney can approve from anywhere in the world. Because my tagline is helping law firm owners reach new heights and catch more flights. And I mean that literally.
I love it. Well, Jayden, this has been an awesome, really insightful conversation. If anybody out there listening could use your help, could use the help of Prestige Accounting, where can people find you?
Yeah, so if they want to find me, the best place is honestly a few different places. So our website for Prestige is accounting-atlanta.com. So if anyone has any questions as to what we do, how we serve, that's one place to see. And then from there, they can book a complimentary consultation. I'm on social media at The Great Jayden on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, all that jazz. And yeah, Facebook. I'm on all platforms. Okay, if there's a platform, I'm on it most likely, except for OnlyFans. I haven't gotten that far yet. Okay,
Haven't made it there yet.
yeah, no, not yet. And then if they're looking to, if they've heard what they needed to hear today, and they're like, look, God sent me your way. I need you to help me out right now. They can go to talktojayden.com and that will take them to the link to schedule a free call.
Awesome. Well, Jayden, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been great.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to coming back.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Partnerships for Profit, presented by LeDuc Entertainment. LeDuc Entertainment for all your podcasting needs. Jayden, thank you so much again.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.